Are we alive?
Yes, I see the live button.
Oh, okay. Hey,
All
everybody.
right. Someone at church did say to me that they were like really excited about us being back. So I'm
Oh, that's
grateful that people are
nice.
still tuning in.
Yes.
Welcome everyone to our Sound Mind panel. We'll give everybody a few seconds to hop
Hmm.
on as we talk about physical and mental health today.
Yeah.
So
But
um,
that's a big one.
huge,
That's a big one.
huge thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
So thank you everybody for being here. We will give everybody a minute. We meet every second Thursday of the month
Thursday.
for
Yep.
our Sound Mind panel. And we've been having some really good discussions this year, holding everyone accountable. And so yeah, so good to be back
Yes, on a beautiful day.
on a beautiful day, beautiful
Yes.
spring day.
Nice day to take a walk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great day for self-care, right?
Okay, you all got the special version of Deacon LeBou today. I'm giving a disclaimer.
We love Special Laboo. Come on, Special Laboo.
All right, we're good.
All right, so welcome, Deacon Laboo. How you doing on this spring
Good.
day?
It's been a really busy day, running around
Yeah.
doing things, and if those days you have 10 things on your list and you get two done, but
Hmm.
it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Life just keeps on going, and we're good.
Life keeps on going. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
me and the
How are
fam
you?
went. We're good. Me and the fam
Yeah.
went to go see Noah in Lancaster, which
Oh,
was beautiful.
nice.
I got to take my kids
Oh,
for the first time.
oh.
And my son says, "Mommy, I will never forget this," and it made me just feel so good,
Oh,
just to take them out.
isn't
So
that nice when you
yeah,
can
it was
create those
nice.
memories and the children say, Mom, I'll never forget this.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
"No, you
know.
better
I
not."
It just made me feel so overwhelmed with joy for
I've
them.
never been. I've
Oh,
I've never been. I keep
oh,
saying I'm gonna go, but I've never been. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
yes, just
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Uh, and Pastor Nick is not a show person, so he don't like to do it either. But he don't want to go, right? But I'm trying to convince him to
Yeah,
go.
but I bet he had a good time.
We had a really, really good
See?
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a Broadway baby. I love anything Broadway. So
Oh yeah.
I kind of
Same
put
for
this in
me.
Bible Broadway.
Yeah. Well, welcome everyone. We're going to get started. We just wanted to
Yay.
chit chat for a moment. We wanted
Yeah.
to give everyone a chance to come on in. As you're coming in, we invite everyone that participates to use the comment section to ask questions, to participate in the conversation. So we're not talking to ourselves today,
Right.
and we're actually engaging with you all. So please come on in.
Hmm.
Share with us any questions you have as we're talking about mental and physical health today. Okay,
Yeah.
so listen. So I was trying to do like a little bit of research, and so one staggering and very alarming statistic that I came across is that individuals who are struggling with anxiety and depression are somewhere around 40% more likely to have cardiovascular disease, or what they
Wow.
call metabolic syndrome, right? And
Yeah.
if you don't know what that is, so the metabolic syndrome is anything associated physiologically or biochemistry with like high blood pressure. Hold on one second. I'm so
Mm.
sorry. Oh,
No,
never
it's
mind.
fine.
About to get that cat. Yeah.
Okay, my dogs may start barking at any minute. Okay.
Completely threw me off. I was like, "What you doing?" But it is concerning. Let me reel back in.
Mm.
It is concerning that there is this connection between our physical health and our mental
Yeah.
health, right? So
Mm.
individuals who have high blood pressure, high
Yeah.
cholesterol,
Yeah.
sometimes don't recognize the association
Mhm.
with that in their mental health.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the increase of they say cardiovascular death or more morbidity to like cancer and depression and anxiety, there's an association there. So the healthier people's minds are, the more likely they are to bounce back from illness. And so we want to have a discussion today. And again, we're not doctors or anything like that. So we're not to replace any advice or suggestions that you're getting from your doctors. While Deacon LeBou and I work in the social services field, and I'm a licensed counselor, I know that what she does, we are not replacing therapy, personal therapy, but we are here to offer support however we can, to answer questions, and then we refer.
That's right. I'm the queen of referrals.
And then we refer, right? We want you to do what you got to do, right? To talk to your counselor, to talk to your pastor. But we definitely want to offer support and suggestions on being better stewards over our bodies and over our mental health.
That is a really important topic. I don't think, I think years ago, no one made that connection, but people are really making the connection between that mind, body, and spirit connection, how it's all together, how it all works together. I used to teach a class for, newborn parenthood, newborns and pregnant women and such and such. And I believe we produce a stress hormone called cortisol.
Yeah.
And that even in utero, they found out in studies, it can affect the baby. So even in utero, this is a big issue. And the cortisol can change our biometric rhythms, all of that stuff but you said about leading to high blood pressure, and stress is just not good for us. It's not meant. It's not.
Our bodies are amazing. It has like,
oh my gosh. And I agree with, I'm an old bio major, so I always get very,
good. Share.
But I always get very interested in how the mind, body, how the brain is just amazing. It's a computer that just monitors everything, and when I teach a class now, and I always say everything is done when a baby's born. You have a little heart, little liver, little lungs, everything's done except for the brain. The brain only starts to develop when the baby comes out, and through exposure and talking and reading and all that. So when we talk about who we are as humans and where we get that set point, I was just having this discussion the other day, in terms of, are people born bad? That was the question on the floor. And it's that old discussion between nature versus nurture. Are we born this way, or do we develop this way? And how we handle stress and deal with that, it sort of goes into that kind of conversation. How do we learn to handle stress? Which I always ask, what did we grow up with? How do people around us learn to handle stress? And sometimes we just adopt those things unknowingly, and like, this is just what I grew up with, so this is how I learned to handle stress in a positive way or a negative way. But the first thing, and I know what we're talking about, is just identifying the stress period and looking at where we are with this. So this is a really, really big topic. Yep.
Yeah. And there's a lot of doctors that talk about the connection between heredity and lifestyle, right? A lot of us blame our stress from family and how we grew up and the lifestyle that we've lived on our physical health, right? Well, I grew up eating ham hocks, chicken wings, turkey neck, pork chops. And we're like, that's what I like, and then sometimes we become inflexible to trying new things, to being healthier because of, both lifestyle and, hereditary. So in the studies are, showing that lifestyle can make a huge difference in whether or not you'll actually become type 2 or have high cholesterol that runs in the family. And we are not crippled or helpless into changing things that stress us out, that make us unhealthy. And, I think we talked about this in a previous panel, right, where the doctors put us on all these medications, but then they tell us, you can get off the medication by changing your lifestyle. Well, we'll say things like, they told me I'm going to be on this the rest of my life. So we still eat unhealthy, have unhealthy habits, and don't realize that that's also contributing to why we have brain fog and we're developing things like Alzheimer's. That's why we can't focus and why we're having difficulty sleeping and why we're so anxious. Those things and our physical health and lifestyle, they're not disconnected. They absolutely work together.
Yeah, yeah, and going back to what you were saying about the hereditary thing, I always use this example about how I think I may have said this a long time ago, how birds learn to sing. Here's the bio brain coming out. How birds learn to sing. A bird comes here with a blank script in terms of the song that they'll sing, and the mommy or daddy bird chirp 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 chirp. Chirps at the bird, and it runs a script in the bird's brain, and that becomes their song. So you could actually switch nests, and the robin could have a blue jay song and vice versa, just by how they're imprinted. I use that as an example because we imprint our children just unknowingly in how we handle things. If I get stressed out, and I can always tell. Well, my mother was a smoker, and I could always tell when she was stressed out, because she did sit at the table, and that's the only time she smoked, when she was stressed. So even as a child, I would go, Mom must be stressed about something, and I would warn my brother and sister, you better stay out the kitchen. Mom's smoking, so you better stay out. And I say that our children are a reflection of who we are. And you can start to see how children handle stress really early, by two. By two. You can start to see if you have a child. Are there balloons going on?
Yes.
I touched nothing, I promise. That was funny. But by two, you can see how a child starts to develop, and how their stress management is starting to develop. If you have a child that has a car this big, and a doll this, a doll this big, and a car this big, and they're trying to stuff the doll in, it's not work, and all of a sudden they take that doll and swing it across the floor. Okay, that's probably a child with a low set point. Okay. And as a parent, you say, okay, sweetie, instead of getting frustrated, just get a bigger car or a smaller doll. And even something like that is teaching a child very early in their development how to handle stress. You just don't throw the thing, you figure out and try and problem solve your way through it. So, so that goes back to your hereditary comment.
Yeah, and I think what you're bringing up is a really important thing too, right? Is even with heredity, there's things we can learn, and we always evolve, and there's versions of ourselves that we don't know yet, right? We can change, we can learn, and sometimes we get stuck in like negative things we've learned from parents, right? Negative habits, negative behaviors, negative things that we've seen, and then when we get older, we carry that to where we work, we carry it into relationships, we carry it into habits and lifestyle and behavior. And some of those things that are imprinted, we believe that that's all of who we are.
Yeah.
Like my husband had made this comment that Black people are the only ones who he said, we go to a funeral and a person died of a heart attack, and we serving fried chicken and mac and cheese and everything at the funeral, right? At the reception. The same thing that killed the person is what we serving everybody that comes in.
Serving everybody else. I can't. But it's true. And the red sweet punch juice.
Sweet punch and cake, cake, and everybody stuffing their face with the same thing that killed the person, and it's because we have this, we adopt these mindsets that are imprinted in us from childhood, that this is what we do, this is who we are. But then it carries on into other things, right? It keeps this cycle going of mismanagement of our emotions, mismanagement of our health, and not practicing really good self-care, not exercising, not keeping our doctor's appointments.
Yeah.
Although I do know quite a few who they will go to the doctor. Soon as something happened, I got this pain in my side. Let me get to the doctor. I need to get that checked. Don't wait too long.
Yeah.
But then afterward, they're not doing anything sustainable or anything what we call preventative, right?
Yeah.
Not taking prevention to keep yourself out the doctor's office.
Right. Right.
It's something that even I'm trying to learn now. So I done made myself a little garden in the backyard, and trying to teach those things, healthy habits to my kids, have them go out and pick some kale and make their own smoothies and get into a healthier habit. Yeah. Like you said, you have to start those things. Yeah.
And one of the things that, and I know I did to myself, and I still continue, I beat myself up all the time. And so, I messed up, I may start, trying to eat healthy eating. I had a bag of chips. I'm like, man. Okay. And then you sort of sabotage yourself. Oh, it's never going to work. But you know what? God gives us grace.
Yeah.
He gives us a new day.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can just start again. We can just start again and say, okay,
Yeah.
fine, tomorrow will be a better day.
Yeah. 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 Oh,
Instead of just totally just saying, "No, I'll forget about it." I get, I'm a little older. I'm a lot older than you, but you get to
sweet.
the point where you go, my body's been really good to me. If I haven't been taking care of it the right way, it's
Mm-hmm.
time for me to take care of my body.
Yeah.
I don't want to take advantage of the grace that God has given me.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that I start taking care of myself. So it can be it is that mind, body, spirit connection,
Yeah.
because it can put some of us it can put us in a dark place because we feel like failures because we're not doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and that we can't do it, and then I'll never be able to do this. Will I ever be able to run a 26-mile marathon? Probably not.
Me
Okay.
neither.
But I just told mine today, before I leave this earth, I'm going to do a 5K. Now, I'm going to
That's
try my best.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Maybe 90, but so I'm making that point is, so I think what happens if we always think on a negative, we never think towards or project to the positive. In my
Yeah.
brain, I'm going to do it, and I can try and do things, to even small things. We can do things to
Yes.
get towards a goal. So,
Yeah.
I try and be that person. I sit up here and go, people, oh, you got your life together. No, I don't.
Yeah. None of us do.
Mm, mm, mm.
Um,
No, go
Hi.
ahead.
I just wanted to say hi to Carol and Jackie. I saw them pop on. So
Oh,
hello, thank you. If y'all are coming on in, join the conversation.
yeah.
Please like and share and
Hmm.
join in the conversation. I do want to just piggyback off of what you're saying too, Deacon, about how important it is that we give ourselves grace. None of us are perfect. I just completely messed up this weekend, child. I'm like, Jesus, we ate out so much, right? And but we don't want to quit there, right? So
Right.
you had a bad weekend. That doesn't mean be bad the next 10, 15 years and say, oh well, I didn't had
Right.
a
I
bad
messed up that
weekend.
one
I
time. I might
messed
as well
up that
keep
one time.
going.
Might as well just let it all burn down, right? Like, so no, but we do try, and
Right.
we have enough information to change and
Yeah.
make healthier habits. And self-care is not, we're talking about physical health, we're talking about mental health, emotional and spiritual, because all of those things are connected.
Mhm.
The Bible talks about a lot of those things in unison. Our emotions, our mental health, they're not meant to be in isolation, and
Mhm.
they feed off of each other. I even thought about, me and my daughter were talking about me nursing her when she was an infant.
Aw.
And I would tell her that she could be in the other room crying, and I would feel, the letdown of the
Yeah.
milk. And she was
Yeah.
like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah,
What
like
is that?
yeah, like my body would tell me it was time to,
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
producing milk."
Yep.
And how I was like, it was so amazing to me.
Yep.
I was telling her that our
Yeah.
bodies know what to do,
Yep.
naturally.
Yeah.
And that goes the same with, like, when we're stressed, right? Or we're
Mhm.
anxious, or when we're depressed,
Mhm.
is sometimes our physical health is needing something too, right? Our mental health, our emotions, but also our physical health, right? It's telling
Mhm.
you we're nutrient deficient. It's
Yeah.
telling us that we need rest. It's
Yeah.
telling us that we need therapy. It's telling
Yeah.
us that we need something to feed us with joy,
Right.
right? That we're
Right.
spending too much time doing things that are not productive.
Yeah.
And walking, regular exercise, rest, brain activities actually help us to feel better, to be more
Yeah.
restful, to be more joyful. And overindulging or having unhealthy has the opposite, right? It makes
Yeah.
us fatigue, it makes us feel stressed out, it
Yeah.
makes us feel
Yeah.
anxious,
Yeah.
you know, living off of sugar and candy and sweets. Yeah, of course you're going to feel lousy,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah. And I think the starting point for me, and maybe for many of us, is to feel worthy of the change.
Yeah, it's huge.
And we have to feel worthy that I'm capable of doing it, and I'm worth the work to put that needs to
Mm-hmm.
go into it. And if we
Mm-hmm.
don't feel that, I always say, and I think Bishop said that, you got to take care of the jalopy before God gives you a jaguar. You know? And so what time I think what happens, we feel like the jalopy. We just feel like, I'm not worth it. I can't do it. It's never going to happen. And so we're so down on ourselves,
Mhm.
and that we just feel like we can't, and we're not worthy of doing
Yeah.
it. And that's where the word comes in. And that's what
Mhm.
God, we say, I can do all things. I made you
Mhm.
the head and not the tail. We have to continuously feed ourselves spiritually to
Yeah.
build that muscle up as well, to say, God created me
Yeah.
unique and special. So
Mhm.
I am a temple. And
Mhm.
God says, take care of that temple,
Yeah.
and we have to work all those things together. But I think it starts once again with feeling worthy and valuable, and able to make the changes.
Yeah.
And then I also believe sometimes you got to fake it till you make it.
Yep. Yep.
Listen, I don't know anybody who likes it. Maybe those people. I don't know anybody who likes to get up and work out in the morning.
Oh yeah. You do it. You do it because you have to, not because you want to.
Yep. So you see people on TV, they're doing all this, and like, yeah, okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And my husband and I, a couple years pre-COVID, we were getting up in the morning. We had a personal trainer. We 5 a.m. in the morning, we were with
Mhm.
a personal trainer. And every
Mhm.
morning, I'm like, oh gosh, I can't
Can't
stand
do
it.
it.
And it showed when I got there, because the trainer would say, "Good morning, sunshine." I'm like, no Christmas gift for you this year.
Get cut off. I'm tired.
Nothing for you. Okay. But you felt so accomplished when
Yeah.
you left. I did it, and so we just have to take those small
Yeah.
journeys and those small accomplishments and just build upon them.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Sometimes that's the hardest part, is getting started with whatever the habit is, the
Yeah.
journaling, the walking,
Yeah.
the eating healthy, the going back to church,
Yeah.
the therapy, like all of those things that we're talking
Mhm.
about. It is the initial step, right? Am I worthy of these
Yeah.
changes? And making them, and not thinking that it has to look like everybody else's process, because we'll see the woman at the gym who weighs a
Yeah.
buck 20
I'm like, yeah, okay,
has never
whatever.
had an inch of fat on her waist in her life.
And she
And
needs to lose 5 pounds. I'm like, okay,
she's like, I gotta lose this last 5 pounds. And we're like, girl, bye.
whatever.
Like that's your journey, and we compare ourselves to that and think, my
Yeah.
goodness, I'm never gonna be able to look like
Mhm.
that,
Mhm.
and not
Mhm.
and be that
Mhm.
disciplined. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do something,
Right.
and
Mhm.
sometimes we talk ourselves out instead of talking ourselves in,
Mhm.
like Bishop says,
Yeah.
right? Is
Yeah.
we think about what we can't do, not what we can do.
Yeah.
And just because it's hard doesn't mean that we can't do it. And we
Mhm.
sometimes have to just build this capacity that we have mentally and emotionally that tells us, I'm not enough, or I can't do it because it doesn't look like this person's journey.
Yeah.
Even small things matter.
Mhm.
Those things matter.
Mhm.
The drinking an extra cup of water a day, the taking the stairs at the hotel room instead of taking the
Mhm.
escalator or the elevator or whatever,
Yeah.
but doing those small steps,
Mhm.
sleeping, having better sleep hygiene, and turning off the tablets and the electronics, just to spend some time in prayer or listening to your Bible app,
Mhm.
for an extra 15 minutes,
Yeah.
getting an adult coloring book, using a journal to document your dreams or your thoughts,
Yeah.
all those things that we think like, no, I don't do it. I don't have a lot of habits at all. But those
Yeah.
little things
Difference.
make a huge difference.
And
They,
one of the things that I appreciate and value what you're saying. None of that costs money.
yeah,
You don't need to have money to do that, to read, sit on the porch, just do things to firstly get your mind together,
yeah,
and to read your Bible. And none of that, and then you get a coloring book and all that, but it doesn't cost a lot to invest in
yeah,
yourself. The
yeah.
first thing it starts is to make the mind up. God has
Mhm.
made me uniquely. I'm so unique because there's only one me,
Yeah, yeah,
and that makes me special. No
yeah,
matter no matter what I feel about myself, no matter what people have said about me, I am uniquely and I'm fearfully and wonderfully made,
yeah, yeah.
because there's only one of me. And that in
Hmm.
itself brings us all value. That in
Yeah,
itself, once again, makes us all unique and makes us, if not valuable to anything or anybody else, valuable to God.
yeah,
And I think when we start with that premise, it can even say, I don't feel it. I don't believe it, but God told me that
yeah.
I am this unique vessel that He's created for a unique purpose that
Mhm.
only I can create and I can do.
Absolutely,
So, I
absolutely.
think when it starts with that understanding that I'm worth it. that I'm worth it. And then I think it goes to I'm worth it, and I will do my best, and wherever I am, I will land and keep going.
Yeah. I love that. It reminds me, Deacon Labu, of what you're saying. I had when I was in high school, I went through that and had a
Mhm.
really dark depression over, body weight and body
Mhm.
image things. And one of the things that helped me come out of that was what you're saying, is the thought that nobody's going to be able to do this for me, is
No,
do this journey for me. And if I'm waiting to be rescued and waiting for someone to validate me and make me feel better about myself, I'm never going to make it. you
nope.
know but believing that I'm worthy,
Yeah,
and taking small steps and getting up, right?
yeah,
And I remember clear as day God saying, you don't like your weight, change it.
that's right.
you know it's
That's
on you. You can change. That's something you can change.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, you right.
God, I
And it's
think
like,
twice about that.
you're right. And I'm thinking, like, he's like, what are you doing every day? Look at what you're putting in your
Yeah,
mouth every day.
yeah, yeah,
And you're whining and complaining about not
yeah,
liking yourself, but you are adding to the problem.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, man, let me get myself up. And I
Yeah.
remember not even trying to change my weight. I
Mhm.
changed
Yep,
my attitude.
yep,
And it wasn't the weight came off because the mindset changed, like you're
yep,
saying, is
yeah.
saying something different to myself made me appreciate who I was in order to make the changes.
Yeah.
And that goes for all of us, right? In
Mhm.
so many different areas, is apply for that job you've been wanting to
Absolutely.
apply for. Go have that important meeting that you wanted to have. Go reach out to that friend that's really seeking you into this depression and this sadness
Mhm.
that you haven't been able
Mhm.
to open up to. Talk
Mhm.
to your spouse about that concern that you're having, or reach out to your children, or
Mhm.
do those small things that we think
Yeah,
are minimal and don't make a difference,
yeah.
but they do.
Yeah, they make a difference. I think what happens is we tell ourselves no before anybody else does.
Hmm.
No, it's not going to happen. No, I'm not going to get the job. No, I'll never be able to do this. Why are
Yeah.
you telling yourself no? And
Hmm.
that's that deeper thought. We say, how have I been conditioned to do this? What
Yeah.
message did I receive
Yeah.
early in my development that said
Hmm.
no? You know, and I laugh now, and I know we got to get ready to go. I laugh, I laugh now who I am because I think I should. I'm the same person I am as I am that I was at 6 years old.
Yeah.
And
Same.
I'm the same person. I value that 6-year-old so much now. I
Hmm.
do. And I think that's part of we have to value, appreciate, and love those parts of ourselves that we didn't like or
Yeah.
align with. Because guess what? They've created you and they've gotten you to where you are now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that little chubby little I wish I had a picture to show you. That little chubby girl with a big afro who always had a lot of mouth, who was told to be quiet, you talk too much. I
Ugh.
value her so much now because she's created me and she's
Mhm.
helped
Oh,
develop
I love
me.
that. Beautifully
Yep.
said.
So
Beautiful.
learn to value and embrace that person that got you to where you are,
Mhm.
and I think that's where it starts. I do. I do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that. I think that is a perfect way to end it.
Mhm.
Right. Value that parts of ourselves will help us to take better care of ourselves. What you're
Mhm.
saying is spot on, Deacon Labu, right? Like
Mhm.
if we hold ourselves at high value, then we would take better care of ourselves. I think there is, what you're saying, a direct correlation with how we see ourselves, what we think about ourselves, and then how we treat ourselves, how we treat
Yeah,
our
I
bodies,
do.
how we treat
Yeah.
our mental health is related to how we value ourselves, how we
Mhm.
love ourselves, and how, what you said, how we think God sees us. And if we see
Mhm.
ourselves the way God sees us, we would do better and see ourselves as quality goods.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
worthy of change.
Oh, look at what Maya did. I can't with her.
Oh
That's me. That was it. Okay, Maya, I'm gonna get you. But
I love her.
that was
I love
perfect.
6 year old you.
But that's me. That's who I was. That's so funny.
Man, see, next time, see, I gotta show her a picture of me now, y'all, so y'all can see. Y'all can see. I love that so much. But
That's
you're
who I
right
was.
though. We so
That was
cute.
funny. But I love her now. I do. I didn't always love her then, but I love her so much now. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
I
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, and that was my afro. Power to the people. I
Yeah,
can't.
I love that, right? We evolve, we change, we
Yes.
grow, and we learn to love and appreciate all of those things about ourselves and
Yes,
work
we
on
do.
it. Oh, you do look the same. You look exactly the same. Just
Yeah.
not the afro. I want to see you with an afro now.
Gotta
Cutie,
get the
cutie,
afro back.
cutie, cutie.
I can't. That was funny, Maya.
Oh, listen, we love you guys. Thank you so much for being
Yes.
Jackie. We see you. Thank you, Rachel. You guys, thank y'all ladies so much. And
Mhm.
all of those that are tuning in now or later, please do us a favor and like and share
Oh
for
yeah.
someone who would love to be just a part of the community. And we'll see you all the second Tuesday next month. And we look forward to
Thursday.
next. I'm sorry, I keep thinking
Thursday.
Tuesday. I do a lot of panels, y'all, but look at the balloons
The
celebrating
balloons again. I
Thursday.
don't know what I'm doing.
Second Thursday at
Mhm.
7 o'clock for our next panel, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Take care.
Take care.